Hi, I'm Linda. In this video, we're going to explore the ether element, or you can think of that as the space element, the element of space. This is the fifth in a series of 5 videos that I've done, each on the essential elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So as always, with each of these videos, I'll offer you a mudra or a gesture that helps to channel the energy toward the element that we're working on. So with the ether element or space, the mudra is Akasha mudra. So the middle finger and the thumb are just gently touching. So the hands are resting with the palms facing up. Just take a moment to notice how this gesture channels the energy in you. So the ether element is associated with the qualities of expansiveness, spaciousness, limitlessness. And all of the other elements are contained within the ether element, within space. So the other elements of earth, water, fire, and air are contained within the element of space. I'll offer you an affirmation to help connect with this space within you. Attuned to the spaciousness of my being, I open to infinite possibilities. Attuned to the spaciousness of my being, I open to infinite possibilities. So you're welcome to repeat that to yourself 3 more times. Attuned to the spaciousness of my being, I open myself to unlimited possibilities. And as you feel ready, you're welcome to release the gesture and just take a moment to notice what may have shifted since we began. And in a comfortable seated position, whatever feels appropriate for you, with the hands on the knees, beginning to take the torso in circles. So the circles can be whatever you want them to be. Maybe they're big, maybe they're small. Maybe they're round, maybe they're not so round, but doing your best to explore that sense of spaciousness. So no hurry. Think of this as a meditation in motion, allowing the movement to emerge from the inside out. Extending to one side and the other, exploring that space within you. And the next time you come forward, pausing to change directions. You might notice how circling in this other direction could feel different than it did in the original direction, so feel free to adapt the movement, just keeping it nice and fluid and spacious. And gradually bringing that movement to stillness, returning to center, extending the right arm out to the side, left arm comes overhead, reaching for the fingertips for the side wall. And if you want to deepen the opening, creating a little bend in that right elbow, just as long as the sits bones stay on the ground. And then finding one thing to soften, perhaps changing your gaze, rotating the wrist, creating space in the joints. And on your next inhale, as though you were moving through liquid honey, taking that right on over to the opposite side. The right fingertips reach for the opposite side wall. The gaze is toward the ceiling. And again, you can deepen that opening, that sense of spaciousness by taking a bend in the left elbow, just as long as the sits bones stay on the ground. And then finding something to soften as you create space in the joints, rotating the wrist, rotating the neck. And inhaling your way to center, and in slow motion we'll come into a twist, so the left hand comes to the right knee, opposite arm supports the posture nice and tall as you inhale. And as you exhale, taking the gaze over the back shoulder, and we'll pause here for 2 breaths. Always lengthening on the inhale, creating space in the spine, and deepening the twist on the exhale. And then again, as though you were moving through liquid honey, taking that right on over to the opposite side. The left hand supports the posture nice and tall as you inhale. And as you exhale, taking the gaze over the back shoulder, we'll pause here for 2 breaths. Lengthening on the inhale, creating more spaciousness, deepening on the exhale. And coming out of the twist, walking the hands forward, just coming into a forward fold. Hands land wherever they land for you. We'll pause here for 2 cycles of breath, noticing where the sensation is present for you. And slowly rolling your way back up to a seated position. Head comes up last. And taking our mudra again, middle finger and thumb are touching, inhaling the arms overhead, great big inhale, and exhale and release. So we'll take that for a few more rounds. Inhaling the arms overhead, if you like, taking your gaze toward the ceiling. And exhale and release. The arms float back down alongside your body, no effort. And taking that 3 more times, inhaling the arms overhead. And exhale, connecting with the back of your body as the arms float down all on their own. Inhaling, reaching the fingertips for the ceiling, perhaps bringing the fingertips together. And exhale and release. And one final time, inhaling, hands overhead, fingertips come together, gaze toward the fingertips. And exhale, gently allowing the arms to float back down alongside your body. Releasing the gesture and taking a moment to allow that series of movements to percolate through your body. And coming over into table position on hands and knees, walking the hands forward to the front edge of your mat, coming into a melting heart. So in melting heart, letting the forehead rest on the mat as you press the shoulders in toward the mat. We'll pause here for 2 cycles of breath. And walking your way back up to table position, curling the toes under and pressing back into downward dog. And taking the tailbone to the ceiling. You're welcome to pedal the heels toward the mat one at a time, whatever allows you to connect with that sense of spaciousness in your body. Maybe it's by pressing the floor away with your hands. Maybe it's by rotating the neck, letting the head release and relax. And walking your feet forward to meet your hands, coming into a forward fold. So in your forward fold, the hands can be resting on your shins, your feet, the floor, holding on to opposite elbows, or even clasping the hands the elbows behind your knees. And as you feel ready, pressing the floor away as you roll your way to standing, head comes up last. Noticing what feels different now that we're standing. And once again, taking our Akasha Mudra, middle finger and thumbs together, inhaling, the hands come overhead, and exhale and release. This is our beautiful sun breath, taking that 2 more times, inhaling the arms overhead, and exhale and release. And one final time, inhaling the arms overhead, and exhale and release. Releasing the mudra, returning to your standing position. And taking the legs a little wider, coming into 5-pointed star here. Really feeling the energy of the 5 points of your star. The energy coming through the feet, through the earth element, extending out through your fingertips, the air element, and right up the central channel of your body, right up through the crown into space. And from here, shifting the left heel back, right toes point to the short edge of your mat, reaching the right fingertips forward, and when you've reached your edge, rotating the torso, coming into triangle. So the right hand is resting on your shin or your foot or the floor. Left fingertips reach for the ceiling. We'll pause here for 2 breaths. And then both hands frame that front foot as you step the back foot in a little bit, coming into a pyramid pose. So both sets of toes are pointing to the short edge of your mat. And then allowing a curve to come into the spine as the forehead drifts towards your knee. And with the left hand firmly underneath your left shoulder, coming into twisting triangle as you take the right fingertips toward the ceiling, coming into twisting triangle. We'll pause here for 2 breaths. And releasing the hand, returning to your pyramid pose. And then walking the hands around, coming into a wide leg forward fold here. Just letting the crown drip toward the floor. And then with the hands on the hips, a little flex in the knees as you roll your way to standing. Head comes up last. We'll take that to the opposite side, so swinging the right heel back, left toes point to the short edge of your mat, arms come up to shoulder height. And reaching the left fingertips forward when you come to your edge, rotating the torso, coming into triangle on this side. So the left fingertips are resting on your shin or your foot or the floor or a block. Right fingertips are reaching for the ceiling. And rotating your gaze if you like. And then bringing both hands down onto the mat, framing that front foot, stepping the back foot in a little. Both sets of toes are pointing to the short edge of your mat, coming into pyramid pose on this side. The forehead drifts toward your knee. And then with the right hand firmly underneath the right shoulder, sweeping the left fingertips to the ceiling, coming into twisting triangle. We'll pause here for 1 more breath. And releasing both hands down onto the mat, returning to your pyramid pose just for one breath. Then rotating around, coming back into your forward fold, your wide leg forward fold, letting the crown drip toward the ceiling or the floor. And then bringing the hands to your hips as you roll your way to standing. Head comes up last. And walking the feet together, returning to your standing mountain. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, feel free to do that. And just notice the sense of spaciousness being created in the body. That sense of expansion and limitlessness. And on an inhale, coming into a little bit of a back bend. Exhaling into your forward fold. And stepping both feet back into downward dog just for one breath. And lowering the knees as you walk the hands to the front edge of your mat, coming back into our melting heart pose. So letting the forehead rest on the mat as you press the shoulders toward the mat. We'll pause here for 2 breaths. And then as you feel ready, walking your way back up. And bringing the legs around. And we'll prepare for shoulder stand. So you're welcome to use a block coming into a supported shoulder stand. And we have different variations. So rolling your way back onto your back. Just taking a moment to connect the back of your body with the mat. And bending your legs, placing both feet flat on the floor. We can begin with a half shoulder stand. So bringing the knees into your chest as you press the floor away with your hands. Taking the legs overhead. So your body's in more of a V shape here with the toes pointing toward the back wall. And the hands are just along where your kidneys are, supporting your body. So this is a perfectly fine variation on shoulder stand here in a half shoulder stand. If you want to come into a full shoulder stand, walking the hands a little higher up your back as you take the toes to the ceiling. So whatever variation feels appropriate for you, a restorative shoulder stand with a block, a full shoulder stand, or a half shoulder stand. If you like, coming into a plow pose, letting the toes touch the floor behind your head. Wherever you're at, taking one more breath. And slowly coming out of your pose, letting the knees drop toward your chest and supporting the spine as you roll your way back down. Drawing the knees into your chest, giving the knees a gentle squeeze. And placing both feet flat on the floor. And we'll take a bridge pose as a counter pose for that series of movements. Inhaling as you press the floor away with your feet, taking the hips toward the ceiling, just allowing the arms to press into the mat as well. We'll pause here just for one breath. And slowly lowering the hips back down onto the mat. And as you feel ready, extending the legs one at a time, coming into our final integration and relaxation, allowing the whole body to release into the support beneath you. Allowing the legs to gently roll outward. Rotating the palms to face the ceiling. And allowing the whole body to soften downward. Softening the shoulders and arms, softening the spine, the hips, the knees and feet, all of the muscles of the body falling away from the bones. And the bones themselves become heavier and heavier, longer and longer. And the internal organs nestle back into your body. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Sun and moon shine their healing light on you. Deep peace to you.